Joining me now is Wisconsin Democratic State Senator John Erpenbach and Patrick Marley, State House reporter for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. He helped break this story today about the prosecutor documents, and he's the author of More Than They Bargained For, about Walker's fight against the unions. Thank you both for joining me.
Thanks for having me on.
Patrick,
thank you.
Patrick, this is the first time we've seen Governor Walker's name connected to this, isn't it?
Well, we've actually seen his name connected to it before, but this is the most detailed accounting that we've had yet, and this is the first time with knowledge of his personal involvement in this. We've known his campaign was at the center of the investigation. Now they're saying that he's had personal knowledge of this, was personally involved in fundraising efforts with outside groups to help his campaign in 2012.
Now, Patrick, here's what you wrote about two aides to Walker, R.J. Johnson and Deborah Jordell. Quote, prosecutors allege Johnson and Jordell acted as a hub to coordinate activities among Walker's campaign and a host of conservative groups to help Walker and other Republicans in the recall elections. So what exactly does it mean to act as a hub?
Well, the Wisconsin Club for Growth is a group that has long been active in Wisconsin politics. They run ads on issues affecting the state and have been very active in promoting the labor cuts that Walker was responsible for. R.J. Johnson has been a principal activist with the Wisconsin Club for Growth, and he's also a key consultant to Governor Walker's campaign. So since the 2010 campaign, when Walker first became governor, he's had this dual role of working for an outside group and working for his campaign. What prosecutors are alleging is that he and Deb Jordell worked to gather together money from multiple groups, the state's business lobby, a number of national groups, to run efforts to help Governor Walker, and that the Walker campaign was aware of this activity.
Now,
so what prosecutors are saying is that these groups were supposed to act independently, but by working directly with Walker's campaign, they were not, in fact, independent.
So, Senator, let me go to you. Prosecutors say that under Governor Walker, two aides were working for both the official campaign, Friends of Scott Walker, and that they were also running an outside group, the Wisconsin Club for Growth. Now, you were very involved in this recall fight. Did you have any suspicions about where all this money was coming from?
No, I was just surprised at the amount of money. Al, you were right at the top of your show. You talked about the millions of dollars flooding into Wisconsin nationally, and it was a tremendous amount of money that we saw. But the issue here is collusion, and collusion is a law in the state of Wisconsin where an outside group can't work in concert with a campaign, like the governor's campaign, to not only raise money, to direct how the money is being spent, but also to develop messages, and that seemed to be what the case here, according to the prosecution. You know, this isn't a liberal, accusing the governor of this. This is a prosecutor saying that the governor is at the center of illegal campaign activity here in the state of Wisconsin, and it really is kind of a sad day here in the state. Despite what you might think about the governor, you never like to see this.
Right. No, and the Walker campaign released a statement today saying, quote, the Friends of Scott Walker campaign are not party to the federal suit and have no control over any documents in that suit. Two judges have rejected the characterizations disclosed in those documents. So, Patrick, why did the judge release these documents today? And is this investigation in a kind of legal limbo?
Well, it's halted for the moment. This is a very complex case, and it's complicated by the fact that there are 5 lawsuits connected to this investigation. So prosecutors started what's called a John Doe investigation, which is similar to a grand jury. It's a secret investigation where people are forced to testify or forced to produce documents and then told they can't talk about it publicly. In the course of that investigation, they issued subpoenas to the Wisconsin Club for Growth and many other conservative groups. In January of this year, the judge who oversees that investigation quashed the subpoenas, stopped them, saying that he did not think that the activity involved was criminal. The Wisconsin Club for Growth then sued in federal court, claiming that their civil rights had been violated, that the investigation was an infringement of their First Amendment rights. A federal judge then halted the investigation. Prosecutors have appealed that to the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeal. This entire investigation, or this entire lawsuit, has been unusual in that large sections of court documents that are normally open to the public are blacked out. And the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals today ruled that documents that had previously been filed were going to be unsealed completely for one set of documents that made up 250 pages perhaps, and that's what became public. There's still many other documents that are sealed, but this one that outlines the prosecutor's theory of what happened is the biggest document, or the most important document we've seen yet out of this.
Now, let me go back to you, Senator Marley. The name... Senator Erpenbach.
That's okay. I've been called worse. That's
fine. The name Karl Rove has come up, which we had not ever heard in connection with any of these lawsuits. Is Scott Walker that important nationally that you have big players like Karl Rove directly communicating with him and now being at least their name coming up in this?
Well, if you remember at the time, and I know you do, all eyes in the nation politically were focused on Wisconsin. If Scott Walker is successfully recalled, then that's good for public unions, and it says to all the Republican governors, don't you dare even think about taking away collective bargaining rights. If Governor Walker is successful in the recall, which he was, it says to the Republican governors across the rest of the nation, okay, go ahead, you can do the same thing Scott Walker did. He made it through Wisconsin. You can make it through your state. So no, I wasn't surprised to see Karl Rove's name as far as the statute is concerned. But again, what I am surprised is it seems like the prosecutors are focusing on three figures: R.J. Johnson, Deb Jordahl, and the governor himself. And again, I can't tell you, if you're the Walker campaign, that on top of dismal job reports that were put out today in the state of Wisconsin, you almost have to be spinning out of control if you're that campaign right now.
Now, you know, you involved in the recall, and groups like Wisconsin Club for Growth are classified as 501c4s. It means they can't coordinate with campaigns, and they cannot push candidates-only issues. But watch this ad that they ran in 2011.
Governor Walker promised to make government live within its means. And even though the special interests don't like it, he's keeping his promise and making them pay their fair share. Call Governor Walker. Tell him to stay the course, keep his promises, and continue fighting for Wisconsin taxpayers.
Now, Senator, does that sound like an ad pushing an issue and not a candidate?
It absolutely does not. It sounds like it's actually pushing the candidate, but they didn't use the magic words, vote for or vote against Scott Walker. But that's not really the issue, I think, in this investigation. The issue is the governor and his chief strategist coordinating, raising money, directing money to funds nationally, and then telling those groups how to spend that money. That's illegal. That's called collusion here in the state of Wisconsin, and it doesn't matter what the ad says. That's not the point. Club for Growth is actually trying to muddy the water, saying this is a free speech issue. It's not. It's Governor Walker, according to the prosecutors, I might add, Deb Jordahl and R.J. Johnson, the strategist for the governor's campaign, colluding with these independent groups who they shouldn't even be talking to in the first place during a campaign.
All right, I'm going to have to leave it there. We'll certainly be watching this as it develops. State Senator John Erpenbach and Patrick Marley, thank you both for your time tonight.